So here's the other thing about this movie, this Leave the World Behind movie that the Obamas consulted on. There is a scene in it, and I know I've been called a little paranoid for pushing this idea in the past when we talk about predictive programming and how they warn us of the things they're doing, because there's a reason they warn us of the things they're doing. Because they don't think they can be held responsible for them. They think they're invincible. It truly is a level of narcissism. They just stick it in our face and say, hey, this is what we're doing. We're bragging about it in movies and in plain sight, and nothing's going to happen. Cool. There's a scene in this movie where they talk about an evil cabal of elites running the country from behind the scenes, intentionally destroying it so they can rebuild it in their communist dystopian nightmare. And they say everyone thought that was a conspiracy theory, but it's true. This is a movie Barack fucking Obama consulted on to make it more realistic. I've been screaming that since we started this show, that the people you see on TV every day are not the ones pulling the strings, and the people that are pulling the strings are driving us off a cliff so they can rebuild it. The Great Reset in their dystopian mindset, their communist utopia. And then you have a movie produced by the Obamas that they consulted on about a cyber attack, which was followed by a cyber attack 2 days later in real life, talking about an elite cabal of people pulling the strings from behind the scenes and destroying this country. I'm not pulling shit out of my ass when I talk about this. I'm not just making stuff up. This really isn't that hard. I look at things that are going on and I draw conclusions. Conclusions that maybe I'm wrong, I don't think are that difficult to arrive to. When I look at the state of the economy, when I look at the state of the world, and when I look at all of the problems going on, and how maybe I don't have all the answers, but I certainly know what not to do. And the people in power just keep doing the things that any idiot could point at and say, hey, that's not going to work. You have to start asking some questions. And when you look at these people who are in power, they're all educated, intelligent people. They're all accomplished. They're smart. You don't get to that level in politics or business or anything without being somewhat smart. These aren't fools. So the only logical conclusion, aside, since they're not idiots, that's been eliminated, the only logical conclusion anyone can reach is that these people are intentionally destroying this economy and intentionally tearing this country down to rebuild it in their image. And it may not be as dramatic as you're going to see in the movies. It may happen overnight, and we may not even see it coming, and one day we're going to wake up, and the pronoun police will be at your door. And they'll be there to arrest you for your problematic speech, and you'll live in a pod, you'll own nothing, and you'll like it, as Klaus Schwab, the head of the World Economic Forum, says himself. You know, the people that fund all of these idiots. You'll own nothing, and you'll like it. That's their 10-year plan. Look it up. Google right now. You'll own nothing, and you'll like it. They are literally planning this in plain sight. I've been screaming it from the mountaintops. They don't want you to own anything. They want you to be a worker bee slave that's stuck in a caste system for the rest of your life, and you can never get out of it. You bow to them. That's why that's the population control, because when a lot of this is going to be automated, so they're not going to need as many people, and then a lot of the people, they don't want to just have to provide for. So when we talk about population control and how tap water is sterilizing people, and how birth control has been proven to sterilize women even after they get off of it, even though it's being pushed on literally everybody. This is what I'm talking about. Everything they do is rooted in population control. Everything. Power, money, and population control. And they all three kind of tie in together. This is their plan. Bill Gates goes on TV and says we need to reduce the world's population to save us from climate change. While he flies around on a private jet. No one else sees the irony in that. Hey, we got to kill grandma. Don't give her hospice care. Just put a bullet in her head. Hey, you, no more than 2 babies. We're going to take it and abort it if you get pregnant a 3rd time. You have twins? Well, you better pick. But I'm going to fly around in my private jet and in a single day produce a larger carbon footprint than you will in the next 25 years. and preach this crap to you. But you're the problem. You're the scum. No, they just don't want to take care of everybody, and they know less people are easier to oppress. That's why they dull us down. They intentionally put estrogen in your food so the men are weaker, and that's as critical as I've been of Andrew Tate. He's got a point. He's got a point when he says that young military-aged men are the only ones that can stand up to this crap, and that's why there is such a concerted, systematic effort in the schools, in the media, and in the foods we eat to make them weak, dumb, and docile, because those are the only people that fight wars, and they're making it so they can't fight back. They know they can't win a head-to-head battle against the American people, so they're doing exactly what the Chinese did back in the Cultural Revolution. Sorry, I lost my train of thought there for a second. They're doing exactly what the Chinese did in the Cultural Revolution, and they're infiltrating us that way. They are destroying us from within. They're making the men weak, fat, and lazy, while they make the women infertile so they can tear this country apart and nobody will fight back. That's what we're dealing with right now, and it pisses me the fuck off. And that's why I'm running for Congress. Was that a good segue?
That was good.
That was good? Well, speaking of predictive programming, this is a preview for another movie coming up in 2024 called Civil War. Go ahead and check this one out. A lot of people have speculated that we could be headed toward a civil war in this country just because, based on how polarized we are. I don't think we've been this polarized since the first Civil War. Go ahead, check this out.
States have seceded.
The United States Army ramps up activity.
The White House issued warnings to the Western forces as well as the Florida Alliance.
The three-term president assures the uprising will be dealt with
Three-term president,
swiftly.
you hear that?
Let me know if you want to try anything on.
I guess aware there's like a pretty huge civil war going on all across America.
We just try to stay out. With what we see on the news, seems like it's for the best.
Citizens of America.
The so-called Western forces of Texas and California
Have suffered a very great defeat at the hands of the United States military.
Mr. President, do you regret the use of airstrikes against American citizens?
We're moving to D.C. today.
We need to go down there.
They shoot journalists on sight in the Capitol. Every instinct in me says this is death.
What?
Every time I survived the war zone, I thought I was sending a warning home. Don't do this. But here we are.
There's some kind of misunderstanding here. Look, we're American, okay?
Okay. What kind of American are you? You don't know?
The Western forces will reach the White House on July 4th.
Oh my God.
Get in the car! Get in the car!
Move, move, move!
We're gonna hang back.
I'm not hanging back.
one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Go, 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 go!
God bless America.
So, how did Ron Swanson go from Parks Department manager to tyrannical third-term president? That's what I want to know.
That's who I want as my president, is Ron Swanson.
You know what? His staunch libertarian views, he'd do a damn better job than anyone we've seen recently. That's all I'm saying. He'd be our like Javier Milei over in Argentina. He must have really taken a dark turn from his original views in Parks and Rec. Well, that's the thing is, it's just odd timing. And remember when we talked about... She just loves to hit that button over there. Yeah, watch this. The space bar evidently is hitting it. And that's what we talked about, is turning the temperature down. Well, we're headed toward 2024. November 2024 is going to be the presidential election. It's probably going to be the most contentious presidential election of our time. right? 2016, you thought that was bad. 2020 made it look worse. 2024, all the current president has done is divide us even further. I mean, for God's sakes, the man called a press conference so he could declare half the country as enemies of the state. So we're going into 2024 more divided than we've been since the 1800s in the Civil War, right? And what does Hollywood do? They make a movie about an American Civil War. Turn the temperature the fuck down. This doesn't even feel like predictive programming. This feels like a self-fulfilling prophecy. Like the elites that, the cabal of people that up until that movie came out, I was called a kook for saying that we're intentionally destroying the country. This feels like they're stoking the flame, saying, how do we get this a little bit higher? How do we get this a little bit higher? Like we used to go to my friend's house and have bonfires because their parents were the only ones that would let us drink underage. And his dad would come out shirtless in jeans, wasted, and just douse gasoline on the bonfire that we had. That's basically what they're trying to do here. 2024, I had a friend that comes on the show named Rico St. Cloud. He's a firm believer that there's going to be a civil war in 2024. And I was, I think you're full of shit, dude. I don't believe you. I don't think it'll be full blown. I would not be surprised to see legitimate skirmishes in late summer, early fall of 2024. Stay away from the big cities. That's all I'm going to say, because that's where those are going to take place at. Just stay out of them, because it's going to get sketchy. It's going to get sketchy. 2020 was bad. 2020 was bad. Anyone on either side has done since 2020, remember 2020 where we had riots in the street and buildings getting burned to the ground and people getting shot. All anyone on either side has done since 2020 is continue to escalate their rhetoric and the extreme things they're saying. They are trying to push us into a civil war, fighting each other, because when we're fighting each other, guess who we can't fight? Them. The elites, the regime, the globalists, whatever you want to call them. We can't fight them. So they dumb us down, they make us weak, they make us fat, they make us infertile so we can't make babies. And then they pit us against each other. And we think each other are the real enemies. And that's the sad part, is when you see these people on the left, a lot of these people have just been fooled. Your average liberal neighbor is not someone you should hate. The guy at the water cooler at work, even if he believes in the trans kid shit, that's not somebody you should hate. That's someone who there's a 90% chance that guy or woman or they, them has been misled. They've been lied to, they've been gaslit by the powers that be on the left and in the Democratic Party into going along with this insane agenda. These aren't people you should hate. These are people that have been beaten into submission or just scared of the consequences of speaking out against it. These aren't bad people. They're had people because they've been had. Hey, thanks for watching. If you liked what you saw, be sure to click the link in the description to get the full episode on Rumble. If you prefer to listen along, you could actually get us on Spotify, Spreaker, and iHeartRadio. You can also go to www.outlawstreamers.com to learn more about not just my show, but tons of other great shows and all the exciting projects they have coming up. Follow my socials at Caleb Isn't Funny on Twitter and Instagram, at Caleb Salvatore Comedy on the Chinese spy app that is TikTok, and be sure to like and subscribe to this YouTube channel. Thanks, and we'll see you every Saturday for brand new episodes of That's Based. Peace.